walking down the street like an alien. They say time will heal, but I don't have.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. We're doing a cook with me Q&A chit chat style video today, whenever you're watching this. It's nighttime, it's dinner time when I'm about to cook. Super easy. We're gonna do a flatbread, like a summer inspired flatbread. I had one of these out at a restaurant a couple of weeks ago and it was delicious, so I've kind of been inspired to make one at home. We are using the non-flatbread, one of my favorites, and we have like zucchini. I'm gonna do some onion, tomato, corn, mozzarella, and then do like a yogurt dressing drizzle. Hopefully this comes out good. If it doesn't, hopefully we have the chit chat and the Q&A aspect of it going. So I am starting out with the non-flatbread. They have this one, and then they have the roasted garlic that I enjoy as well. It's so delicious. This one is just the original, and they take like no time to cook at all, just popping them in the oven with all of the toppings on them. So it's gonna take no time at all.
I was starting out by prepping some ingredients and slicing up a shallot into smaller slices and then adding a little bit of vinegar and sugar to this. I got this idea because HelloFresh does this a lot in their recipes and I truly enjoy it. I thought that would be like a nice little crunch to the flatbreads, and so usually I would use a rice vinegar, but I can't find mine. I have no idea where it is, so I just used some apple cider vinegar and then sprinkled a little bit of sugar on top, and I stirred it all around, and then I let that sit until the flatbreads were ready to garnish at the very end. And something I love about flatbreads are that you can put any ingredients on these things. You can make them savory, you can make them sweet, you can put a whole salad on top of them, which is basically what I'm doing in this video, and have different flavor profiles, and I love it. So we have some cherry tomatoes, I have zucchini, we are doing some corn, so I'm cutting off like one ear of corn, cutting off the corn kernels and adding that to the mix. You can do avocado, summer squash, any vegetable that you can even think of.
So I have our ingredients prepped, or at least most of them. I am going to be putting chicken on the flatbread as well, and going to saute the corn for just a couple of minutes to get like the sweetness out of it. In a little skillet here, I'm going to put some olive oil and have it over medium heat, and then just kind of like stir it back and forth for like 5 minutes. I actually forgot I wanted to do the same with the zucchini, so I should have gotten a bigger frying pan here, but it'll be fine. I'm just gonna throw in the zucchini. I cut way more than I needed, so I'll probably just leave some of it in the fridge. And then we're gonna season with salt and pepper as well. So of course I'm using rotisserie chicken. If you guys have watched me cooking ever, I love rotisserie chicken. It's the seasoned, already cooked, seasoned rotisserie chicken. I just bought this today, so I'm not gonna add any more seasoning to it, but if you do have plain chicken, I would definitely recommend adding, you know, a little seasoning here and there, just to make it not be so plain on the flatbread. But like I said, I don't have to with this one, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it up just a little bit, and it is pre-cooked, so you don't have to worry about this. And now I'm gonna grab my phone in just a moment when I pop this into the oven and answer some questions. This week is flying by already and it's only Monday. How does that even happen? Today flew by. We have a cute like movie night at school tomorrow night. Today was crazy hair day and they tie-dyed t-shirts, and then on Wednesday is field day. Friday's graduation. Holy cow. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. All right, so I think that's all I'm gonna do. It was just like 5 minutes or so on the corn and zucchini. I should have separated the corn and zucchini, but I had already put the corn in there and whatever. It is what it is. It's all going in the same place. It'll be cooked. It's fine. I am gonna preheat the oven to I think it's 400 or 450. Whatever the flatbread instructions say. I can't remember. 400. Okay.
So the flatbreads take no time at all. It was 400 degrees for like 10 minutes, and it only was 10 minutes because I was chatting with you guys doing my Q&A. So I just laid a bed of shredded mozzarella down, and that's just so that the toppings have something to stick to. And then I went ahead and added the corn, zucchini, and the rotisserie chicken pieces as well. You can totally add the chicken after it comes out since it's cooked if it's warm, but it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It doesn't dry it out because it's not in there long enough to dry out, in my opinion. And then I did add the cherry tomatoes as well and topped it with a little bit more mozzarella so that things were kind of covered and again, like stuck to the flatbreads.
So that's gonna go in the oven until I say it's done. Just a few minutes, like 5 to 10 minutes or so. And while it's waiting, I do have to make the yogurt like drizzle. I just have some Fage, or you can do Greek yogurt or anything like that. I just couldn't find a small container of plain Greek yogurt and I didn't want to buy a huge one. And then I'll do like lemon and seasoning. So I'll do that in just a second, but it's so easy. So yeah, let's answer some questions. If you could pick any job in the world and magically have the skill set for it, what would you be? Any job in the world? I mean, I love my job so much. That is so cliche and ridiculous, but I really do. I love my job. Dream job. I would love to be either an interior designer or a wedding planner, using someone else's money to buy amazing things and decorate or plan like amazing events. I would probably be terrible at it, but that would be amazing. Oh, but she said if you have the skill set for it. Wedding planning or interior designing, because it's someone else's money and you get to just buy all the amazing things. That would be awesome. What's your best advice for dealing with tantrums? Big emotions are a thing. Big emotions. Trying to just like breathe yourself, breathe, and it's hard because it depends on the situation. Like when they're younger, it's really hard to communicate and like communicate their wants and needs until they're kind of come back down to earth a little bit and to calm down. So just making sure that they're safe. If it's a real throwing a tantrum, they're not really able to communicate through it because they can't think of anything else if they're having an actual tantrum. So just making sure that they're safe and they're not gonna hurt themselves. And then when they've come down to earth just a little bit, make sure that you communicate with them that, you understand that their wants and their needs, on why they're having a tantrum, what their feeling is, and kind of talking your way through it. That's what has helped me the most. From my perspective, they just want to be heard. They want to be acknowledged, they want to be heard, and they want you to understand them. And so like if you verbally communicate that with them and you say like, you're upset because this happened, and try to work through it that way. We have books on big emotions that actually have been working very well. So just kind of like having a quiet time, coming back down to earth, and getting on their level and really acknowledging to them that you understand their feelings. How did you move on from your ex? How did you get on your feet financially? So I was always I was always in charge of the finances. I was never That's my timer already. We're gonna let it go for a few more minutes. Financially, I was always independent and the provider, and the only financial provider basically. And so I just didn't, I didn't worry in that aspect, but I did worry financially because I was a bartender, waitress. That was my full-time gig and how I made my income. And when I was unable to have childcare, because you know, that person was providing the childcare for me while I went to work, I was scared, so scared, because YouTube at that time was definitely not bringing in enough money to cover my mortgage and, you know, all of the bills. It was covering, I was making an income, but definitely not enough to pay my bills. So I was really nervous about that, but I had a cushion. I had a chunk of money in my savings account that I had built up from, you know, in my 20s, like after my college years. I just put away money, lots of money, you know, as much as I possibly could. And so that obviously helped me. So when I had to quit my job and I was taking leave of absences that were unpaid and whatnot, I was living off of my cushion, like my savings account, and I was just busting my butt to produce YouTube videos and, you know, take on more sponsorships and create more videos and just post constantly. And so it eventually took off and I was able to supplement, you know. Of course I drained my savings account, but very grateful that I had that there. But I was always financially independent and before that. So yeah, anyway. And how did I get over? So it took me a really long time, and until I was done, I wasn't done. And it was just like something clicked and I was beyond it. It took me a really long time to get there, like I said, and you just know when you're done. And then because it was so bad and it was so like negative and it was just so bad, one day it just clicked with me and it was like, you don't deserve this, you deserve better. That person is not going to change. That person is not your person, and you are way better off without that toxic stuff in your life. And so it just clicked for me. Time heals all wounds. Honestly, time is just the biggest blessing. And these two kind of go hand in hand. Do you want more kids? And well, actually there's a few right in a row. Do you want more kids? How many kids would you like to have when you find the right one? I would love to have one more. I'm 35. I just turned 35, so God willing. I don't know what's in my future. I would love to have one more if that's in my future. We will see. And then this one is, does Sydney like being an only child? I feel guilty for not being able to give my son a sibling. I'm sure she would love that. She loves the attention. She loves, I don't know, she doesn't really, I mean, we play with other kids every single day, like literally every single day. So she gets that interaction, but I'm sure she would love a sibling. She does ask, like she goes, Mama, you wished for me and you got me. So if I wish for a baby, you'll have a baby in your tummy. She said that the other day. And I was like, oh, well, doesn't really work that way. Let's see. Do you ever think you'll move, or do you feel like you'll stay in the area you're in? I would love to move to a warm state, a warm climate. I know I've mentioned that a few times because Maine is so cold. I love Maine because it's peaceful, it's beautiful, I feel safe, I feel like my family's here. I'm born and raised. I've never lived anywhere else besides Maine. And I love where we live too, not just Maine in general, but like I love the town that we live in. It's such a community feel and I love it. Love it so much. If my family up and moved to a different state, I would probably follow them. If it was a warm state, I would follow them. We'll see. I'm too much of a chicken. I don't know. If I have a significant other someday and they want to move, I probably would. But just moving like Sydney and I, I'm too much of a chicken right now. All right, this is gonna come out of the oven in just a second here. Have you ever been to Las Vegas? Where did you stay? I have been to Vegas actually, years ago, way before Sydney. Where did we stay? I don't even remember. I went with my mom, my Nana, and my cousin. We saw a couple of different shows, went to Holly Madison's like peep show, probably had no business going to that show. I think I was in my 20s. Yeah, I would think I was able to drink and gamble and whatnot. Play the slot machines a couple of times. But it was super fun. It was one of those like bucket list things. Yeah, it was a blast. Let's see, budgeting tips. I have an entire video on budgeting tips and like frugal living and whatnot that I'm gonna go ahead and link. I do live by that video. I swear by it. Those are the tips and things that I do daily. I'm a frugal person, but I will spend my money when I want to. Favorite place to shop for pre-K clothes and shoes? Amazon, Target, cheap stuff. Sydney's preschool had like a dirt playground, and they're actually putting in turf as we leave. And so it was a true Mainer, like mud, dirt, filth. She comes home with dirt underneath her fingernails, all over herself, her shoes and all that. So I learned really quick to just get cheapo clothes, nothing nice, nothing light colored, because that's not gonna last. It depends on where you live and what their playground situation is like, but definitely nothing you're gonna care about if it gets paint on it and stains and all of that. Which is really hard for me. That goes with my fear of contamination, also goes with like dirty clothes and things. And Target, like $4 jeans or $4 leggings, things that are comfy too. That was one of my biggest things, because Sydney had a nap period and I wanted her to be comfortable, like laying down and covered up and whatnot, and climbing ladders and just playing constantly. So I wanted her to be comfy. So just easy leggings, t-shirts, and then sneakers though. I did buy her Amazon sneakers and they didn't hold up. I recommend Nike sneakers. I know they're a little bit more pricey, but I definitely recommend them. They hold up, in my opinion. They do run a slightly small, so just be aware of that, but that's what works for us. Will you ever get a fur baby? It's definitely on my mind. I think that I would get a cat. And the reason why is because they're just easier. They just are, and they cost less money usually. But you know, maybe in the future. Right now, it's not, I don't know. You never know. I just think like a dog can cost a lot of money if you have to randomly go to the vets or whatnot, and they're a lot more work. Where I live here, we don't have a yard that we can just, you know, the dog can play and hang out in. So that is on my mind. I mean, people do have small dogs around here, but that's just my like thing and my preference. So moving on to the yogurt dip. Like I said, I just got this Faye. Hopefully it's fine. It's just plain, like a plain kind of soury Greek yogurt or just plain. No vanilla. Don't make that mistake. I was gonna do lemon, but this is what my lemon looks like. It is squishy and not unwell. So change of plans, I'm gonna use a lime. I always have limes on hand. I'm so bummed. I went to the grocery store and everything. I guess I'm not prepared. Oh well.
I ended up having to improvise and make a totally different like sauce drizzle than I had planned in my mind, but that's okay. It turned out great and we went with the flow. So it was a Faye and then a nice big squeeze of lime, salt and pepper, and then I ended up using Trader Joe's Green Goddess seasoning, which had, you know, parsley, dill, garlic, onion, and seasonings like that. And I did a decent portion of it and it was delicious. I also added little splashes of water until I got to the drizzly consistency. I ended up topping the flatbread with a decent helping of salad mix. You don't have to do this, but this is for crunch and for greenery, something to look at. I do love salad mix on top of my flatbreads. So I just added that and then I drizzled some of the dressing on top.
Okay, dinner is done. It looks delicious. The yogurt drizzle actually was really good with that. So improvise, right? when's the next Disney trip? I think I've gotten a few questions about when you guys are going to Disney again, because I had shown a couple of stories on Instagram of like, don't forget 5% discount on your Disney cards through Target Red Card app. I am working on a trip to Disney. I'm waiting to get some confirmation on dates that I'm hoping to get the confirmation soon. So I'm working on our next trip, planning it, and planning it for me is so fun. I love planning it. I love writing down all the numbers, looking at different dates, looking at ways to save and things. And at Disney, it's so weird. I know it's to some people, for me to say like Disney is easy for us, because I know many people are so intimidated by planning a Disney trip. Disney vacations are easy because I've been there, done that with Sydney, and I know how to get around. We don't have to have a car. We're in like Disney's bubble, and so I don't have to worry about, I just know Disney. We've only been a couple of times, but it's just easy because I don't have to bring a car. I don't have to worry about, you know, knowing where to go for food and doing this and doing that. We're in the Disney bubble because we usually stay on, well, we stay on property. And so it's just easy for us, for me. And I love Disney. It's so magical, especially with Sydney at this age. She's 5 years old. We've been twice before, and I want to take her again. I just want to make it a tradition, and then before you know it, she's not going to want to go to the Magic Kingdom kiddie rides. It's just so magical and it's special, and I feel like if you get it, you get it. You're either like love Disney, obsessed with Disney, or like, I've been there, done that, we can move on and do something else. And at this time, at this stage in my life, and with Sydney being 5, Disney is it right now for me. Like, I love it, and if I'm gonna spend large amounts of money, I might as well make it a magical vacation. We'll do other vacations, of course, but right now, I don't know. Disney is just it. I love it. So I am gonna go ahead and top the flatbreads. I totally forgot I made the pickled onion. Hopefully they're good. I'm gonna top the flatbreads with some pickled onion, and then we're gonna have a late dinner. We played outside a little bit after school with friends, and I got to filming this a little bit late, but I love cooking. I love answering questions and just kind of like chit-chatting with you guys about life and whatnot. Of course, whenever I do a Q&A, I'm constantly getting asked, are you dating? I gave up on online dating. I just did. It was horrible. It wasn't horrible. I never went on a date, but I'm on my phone for a living. I'm on my phone and social media for a living. So for me, at the end of the day, to go on an app and swipe and swipe, and so it was so mindless and it was so endless, and I'm not a good person to judge someone by a profile because I'm way too judgy. I'm gonna admit it, I'm way too judgy when I look at someone's profile, and it's horrible. I need that chemistry in person, and I know you won't know if you have chemistry in person until you go on a date. I know that. But I didn't even want to basically go on a date with anyone based on a profile. I'm way too judgy, and it was horrible. So with that said, I am not online dating. I am always open to meet people and date and do all that. Like, I'm ready, absolutely, but I'm in the mindset of like, when it happens, it happens. When I meet someone, I meet someone. I mean, Sydney's starting gymnastics soon, and all the sports and the school events and the play. Like, I see and meet people on a daily basis. I know some of you guys are like, think that I'm an introvert, yes, but some of you guys, yes, think that I am like beyond an introvert. I also don't share with you guys or show you every single aspect of my life on here. Many of times when we are with friends, I never put them on social media anymore, and Sydney's friends and whatnot. So there are so many aspects of my life that you guys don't see, but no, I'm not dating anyone currently. Always open, so we'll see. All right, now I'm starving. I'm gonna eat and hopefully it's good. Before I give this to Sydney, I'm gonna go ahead and try this. I feel like my exposure is so, we're losing daylight. Let's see. The corn adds, what is happening with my lighting? I need to put my kitchen light on, hang on. Okay, this is definitely a refreshing, light, like summer dinner or even lunch. This is so good, and it would probably be delicious if you made it on the grill with some char on it. The corn adds nice sweetness, whereas the dressing is like a nice tang. I love it. I love the texture. It's light, but it's hearty as well because you have your vegetables, but you have chicken. This is pretty good. So as always, if you guys recreate any of my recipes, anything that I show you guys here on YouTube, tag me on Instagram or let me know in the comments down below because I love it. It makes my heart swell when you say you've tried it and your husbands or your kids love it. It makes me so happy. So I hope you guys enjoy this little chit chat, cook with me, and I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Thursday is gonna be a get it all done with me. I was busy all day filming the first little bit of it. So stay tuned.